All right. So me and Gary got some stuff done on here, got the heads on and all that, and you know, worked for a couple hours. I took him home, and he gave me his exhaust to use when we come back and when we get it the rest of the way together to fire up. So I got his exhaust, and he gave me this is his motor stand, and I said, well, maybe I can make one quick, you know. So what he does is he bolts it on to the 3 on each side that the tins go on under here. And then for him it works out good because he just takes, you know, he's by himself. So then he bolts this on, it's on the floor, he likes to work on the floor, and he hooks a big vice grip on here, and then he can just roll this over by himself, you know, and that's pretty good, you know. He's what is he, like 76, so you know, he's pretty good. He's doing this all by himself. But I am going to go a little farther on it. I am going to build a stand that I can connect to the motor mount. I'll build something coming off of there, and I'm going to build a plate that goes around and catches 4 of the bolts on the bottom of the bell housing, and bring it up about, this is 1 foot, between 24 and 26 inches. My 140 over there on the stand at the bottom here is like 26 inches. So something like that, you know, a nice workable height, and then I will figure it all out and put some nice legs on it, wider, and a fuel tank on it. I've been planning on building one sometime, so I ordered like a little 2.5 or 3 gallon, probably only like 1.5, 2, I don't know, a little aluminum fuel tank I ordered. So I'm gonna try to get all this done. Today is Wednesday, it's 5:30. I just started cutting a couple of pieces, drilled a couple of holes. I went and ate some lunch quick, and I'm gonna come out here and crank as long as I can tonight, and see if I can whip up an engine stand. And I think I could get this put onto it, and we could finish the rest of this motor on that stand, that run stand. I have a electric fuel pump, so maybe I could get something together and kind of surprise him quick. Yeah, I should be working on Blue Boy, but I think a good stand, if I can just quick whip one up tonight, or you know, I'll finish it up in the morning if I have to, you know. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so I cut a couple of bars out. This is longer than I need. This is the old bell housing I made a stand out of. It's been over my trash can. I've been using it for like a funnel. and well, this I'm going to use for making this piece. I'm going to make a bar that goes across here. I'll cut this bottom out. A couple pieces, it's going to go up on each side, 1 on each side, and I'll cut them out a little bit, and I will bolt all this down and weld it together on there, and then I'll cut a couple of pieces to put in here, and that's going to be this end of it. And the other part, I'm going to make the other end of the stand, I will make a bar that goes onto the motor mount, and that's how I'm going to do it. I seen somebody on a group that did it, and then they actually put 2 studs down here. They welded 2 studs where I drilled them, and then they would just bring their motor in and catch those 2 studs, and then they would bolt the 2 tops. So I'll probably try to do that, see if that works, and go from there. For now, I'm just going to cut this here off. And then probably cut these little pieces here off, and then cut some pieces for inside there. So let's quick do that. All right, me being a fabricator, I think I can quick whip up a stand pretty quick, faster at this, because this is what I know. Yeah, that stupid leak back there. I gotta fix that one of these days. So let's cut this out if I can see. Dang, it's dark. kind of goobered that up because I didn't take my time. Didn't take my time. I usually cut thin stuff, so. Might be cut through, I don't know. Maybe not. There she went. All right. I can grind that. I'll grind it, make it look nice. Hopefully this turns out good, and Gary can come over here and be like, I don't know about that, or think it's cool. So, we'll see. I think, yeah, talk to Gary. I'm gonna pick him up Saturday morning, and we're gonna work on that motor. Okay, get it off my rubber so I don't, my mat down there, so I don't burn that. I was gonna grind these little ones, but geez, I'm like, pull out the plasma cutter. Yeah, here's the last one. I need to make a little cart for this plasma cutter too, one of these days. I keep pulling it in and out of the box. This one's so little I could almost grind it, but. Yeah. All right, just making sure I wasn't melting my cords down there. Whew. All right, so I just been cleaning up all the pieces, rounding them real nice, getting them to fit. This one rounded a little bit. I hate them. I hate these triggers, but I got them. All right, I like my stuff to look nice. Nice, so I think that'll be good. I'll bevel these ends, figure out where that goes, figure out where this goes, put a bevel on there for weld, and cut these two pieces off. I don't think I need them sticking out wider. Or do I leave them stick out that much on each side? And see where my bars come to. Maybe I'll leave them out that far like I planned it. I can always round them. Maybe my, whatever I build this thing out of will connect there. I don't know. We'll leave them that way for now. Just winging it. Make this, make the other piece. Kind of figure out how to attach it to each other for onto the motor, and then build some nice legs. They're stable, nice stable legs with some bracing in it. I don't know if I had one, but maybe like a catch pan under it for oil or something. I mean, I don't have to get that fancy yet. I can add stuff to it later. All right, so I got it all lined up pretty good. I'm gonna tack. Weld. I'll probably put a piece in the corners. Just two. Making a big mess in the shop, but that's what I do. Get some good welds on there. The welder that's gonna want to pull it this way. Yeah, just good tack there. I'll continue welding that up all the way around real nice and let her cool that way. So I get a nice tack in each end. So it doesn't start pulling and twisting and getting weird. That's a tack. All right. Like I said, I'll put some pieces in there and see what we can get built here quick tonight in record time. So I got it welded up nice, both sides. Real nice and heavy. So that's that. I'm gonna let it cool before I do anything with it. I'm gonna cut 2 pieces, one to go in there, one to go in there, and I'll weld that in a little bit. I think I should have them in there. I think so, yeah. I'm gonna put those in there. I'll spend the extra time to do that. All right, take my glasses off and put these on. I really can't see without my prescriptions, plus it's dark. Yeah, good enough. I'll cut 1 piece on each side. That's the plan. See what we can do. Let's see, it's dark. Could be a little smaller, it's fine, less grinding. Oh, what do we gotta do here? Turn it on? Turn it on helps, turn it on. That helps a lot. I like to keep on that side, make it a little smaller, less grinding, more welding, it's easier. Okay. Don't touch it with your hands. These are thin gloves. Trying to get a better spot there. I'm on an angle, but enough, I think. Keep on the small side. All right, I should change my tip because this is actually fine cut. I don't know if it's for that thick of metal, but it cut it. All right, I'll clean those pieces up a little bit, grind them a little bit, get the slag off of them, bevel them a little bit, start welding. All right, so I beveled these all the way around, and they're going there real nice, like that. And I'll weld them in real nice. The other side, I'll weld it, take it off, finish welding it, grind it flat. And this, I think this is, yeah, I think it's good. I think that'll do. So this is just a Hypertherm hand plasma cutter. 110 or 220 you can run it on. So yeah, that's what it is. In case you're wondering what I'm using, just runs on, I don't know, 80 to 100, between 80 and 100 35 PSI, about like that. So I'll run it on a little over 100. Sometimes you gotta get a little ingenious. I cut a piece this length to put in there. This place was handcuffed with a torch, so it was off a little bit, so I put a shim on this side. Now I got her cut, and I could have cut it with the plasma, hand plasma, but I wanted a real nice cut. This is gonna have a drill holding whichever one I use here. I think the bigger one. And it's gonna be for the engine mount side, the single hole. All right, I've been out working in the shop 15 and a half hour day. Plus I got up 2 hours before that. And my ribs are killing me still. And it's warm, but I got her done. She's nice and flat, perfectly flat. I like it. You know, I could sit there and weld it in a little bit more. It doesn't matter. It's never gonna go nowhere. Is that too thin down there? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, and one of these is gonna be on the other end. I gotta drill a hole, grind it a little straighter. Drill a hole, and that'll go on the other end of this to hold where the motor mount is. And then I'll just have to build my bars across somehow, however I do it. Figure that out, and it's like a frame and then some legs. A spot to hold the gas tank. It's like an aluminum 2.5, 2 gallon, I don't know. I don't remember what it is. And run some hose for that to a fuel pump, electric fuel pump. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Burnt out, tired. Wash up, go in the house, call it a night. Be out here tomorrow at 5 again. See you in the morning. Oh, all right. Well, I got up at 3 this morning. I was out here at 5. Got about maybe 5 hours of sleep. My ribs are killing me. I'm kind of crap from staying up late, but I had pulled this motor from the back storage, rolled it in here, got it up on here, and put a mount on it. This is the plate that's going to get mounted on this side. I figured I'm just going to find a stripped down motor that I have a bell housing and the motor mount plate here on there. And then go from there. I'm going to build it upside down. I have it, this here is fairly level. And somehow I'm going to mount that on there and build up over it. This is going to go over on this side. I'll show you a video, a different video. That's my little aluminum tank I got. I've had it a month and a half now. This here cart I had laying around. I wouldn't mind it being a little bigger. The thing probably weighs close, like 90 pounds. And I have these threaded rods because there's some holes in there. And I got these threaded rods I can put down and screw down if I don't want it to move. I'm thinking just the 2 would work to keep it from rolling. I think the front wheels swivel, the backs don't, so that might be good enough, or I put all 4 down. I don't know, I could probably just use the speed wrench or something, you know, or put on the impact. Work smarter, not harder. So yeah, like I thought, well, I'll come out here. I wanted to work a couple extra hours last night, but I just got worn out too quick. So I just want to quick do this before noon today, but I can see it's gonna probably be the day. I was thinking too, I gotta make a battery tray or something to hold the battery. I want to. And I was kind of thinking, well, how am I gonna lift it and get it on there? We'll figure that out down the road, because I made that lifting bar to lift the motor when it's done. but that's where it gets mounted to that piece. So you'll see. I'm just kind of winging it and doing it. Just doing it, figuring it out. That's how I kind of do stuff. I kind of just kind of come up with ideas in my head and, you know, kind of change things as I go. So I feel like crap, but we got to get, I should be working on Blue Boy, but I figured a quick engine stand, if I can get it done today, and then I'll have it. All right, so I got my pipes. These are for Blue Boy here. I'm gonna have to order another set. I left this on here and it's in the way. Isn't that the way things go? I just left it on just in case I want to mount something off, go off of there, but they're just going to be just in the way. So I'm just gonna buzz them off nice and straight. And I'll use these ones. These are, I picked up for like 40, 50 bucks. These are 140s, they're bigger. I'll keep them for this here project. I do have a set of an old exhaust, whatever they are, Perform Max, I don't know. I'm gonna weld those on. I wanted to just use these crappy things, but I don't know, they're, maybe. I'd rather use these if I could. Maybe, but maybe, yeah, maybe I can sandblast these and see if I can get these so I'm not using the new ones. These were laying out in the storage container. Or them 140s too, I don't know. And then I got this all mounted on there. So figuring it out. All right, so I gave these a little bead blast. Obviously these are 140s because they don't fit. But what Gary does, I mean, just for a run stand, he ovals them out. So I take the die grinder, oval them out a little bit so they fit. Buzz this off. I can like kind of put my exhaust on and I kind of know where I can build my other pieces around that to make my legs for the cart. All right, I ovaled these out a little bit. So these fit on there, then I can use these exhausts for 140 or you know, anything else smaller. I was like, oh, I could use my old crappy exhaust that was on Blue Boy. I don't want all that heavy clunking stuff on there. I don't need all that on there. So I put my exhaust log on here, just sat it on there. I did a measurement. This side here sticks off 1 inch farther than the other side. So what I'm going to do is, I have these pipes. It had all this junk on there. I cut it off. And I got a little too much in there. One of these I'm gonna cut 1 inch shorter. So I'm gonna cut an inch off of this one here, and this will go on the one side. These are my pieces I cut off of the mount I made. So I cut 1 inch off of there. I have these big heavy washers. I'm going to die grind them out a little bit so they don't restrict any air on the small pipes. And what I'll do is I'll weld these little holes, and they have some screws in there. I'm gonna weld that on there like that. And then I'll straighten that out and weld that on there. And then I'll have a nice little pipe. One will be an inch shorter for the one side. Not like it matters. Does it really matter? No, but to me, yeah. I'm a little crazy with stuff. So like I said, I'll take this. It's almost the same size. He said don't restrict anything. I will die grind it just a little tiny bit. So pretty much the same size, but I'll take like a little tiny bit off. And then it won't have zero restrictions on that. And that'll work. Like I said, I was going to use that big heavy stuff. And why have that all hanging on there, you know, for a test stand? I may chop that up and use it. I don't know. Keep it for now. All right, that's where I am right now on them. I just have to die grind it out a little bit bigger. It's pretty darn close. And I'm just gonna tack them up a little bit. I'm not gonna totally weld them in. And I'll put them on the motor when I get on the stand and adjust them a little bit. I said I got one longer than the other one, so they're kind of the same length, but you know, because the exhaust manifolds are different lengths, so not gonna really matter for a test stand, but that's what I'm gonna go with. Nice and light and little. All right, these are pipes. I decided to take a burr and a die grinder and die grind out. This one got a little bit bigger than I wanted, quick, and then I just barely slid the pipe in there. Now I know it's not restricting anything. And I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm just gonna put a couple big weld, you know, good tacks on there, and then when I get it on the stand, I'll see how it is, you know. It's I can always trim them, hit them with a cutoff wheel a little bit, and move the pipe a little bit, you know. It doesn't have to be 1000%, but I always try to do stuff decent. All right, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe it should have been up a little more. It seems like it's up higher, but that pipe's longer, so. All right, we're gonna leave it at that. We'll see how they are. I said I did one shorter, one longer, just because the exhaust log to keep them even. I don't know. Do I have to do that? No. All right, well, at least that's kind of, well, I'm glad I got these the right direction. They've been on and off a bunch of times. They could have been backwards. And that would have been my luck. So, all right, that's done. All right, so this is where I'm at now. I added these pieces on here. To raise it up, I was gonna go with some angle iron. I had some thinner angle iron. I'm just using what I have on my steel rack. If I would have known I was gonna build something, maybe I would have picked up some more steel, but I got stuff here. So I didn't like the angle iron was kind of thin, so I raised it up to here for 2-inch tube. I'm not using this black powder coated piece. I have some 2x2 pieces over there. And I'll cut it to length. This one I'm probably not going to use in here. I will probably go with, this is what I was going to go with, but I have the room. I'll probably go with a nice 2x2. And then I will cut these off, put a piece between, weld that up, cap the ends off, and because there'll be cuts like that on the end, open ends. And then I will tack it on that side, level it with probably across the pan or like the cylinders. I'll probably try to get it level with that. Whatever, I think the pans probably be level right across here, and level it with that, and then cut this piece of tube to go between, and that can get welded in. And then there's going to be, I don't see what I got on the rack. The cart is 9 inches wider than this here, so I'll split the difference 4.5, and I'll put my pipes, square tubes off of that onto the cart, angle them, weld them on here on an angle out to give it stability, and that's what I'm doing right now with it, just winging it. Looking good. All right, so far it's looking really well, real good. I have to cap these off. I have to flip it, take it off, unbolt it, flip it upside down and weld the rest of it. It's turning out, I think it's turning out really well. Taking longer than I thought, of course. That's with everything. So, what I will be doing, yeah, I'm gonna go take a break. It's been a long day so far. What I will be doing when I get back, take it off, flip it over, weld the rest of it. Real good, clean up the welds. And then my legs are gonna go off of here on an angle. I might put a piece in between here. I might not. I don't think I really have to. I mean, this is some strong stuff. It'd probably be good to be able to get in there with your hands. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyways, that's it. It's kind of hard to tell. It's gonna get mounted to that cart, which is 25 by 26. And yeah, I said, it doesn't look like much right now, but it's gonna be coming together now really quick. All right, back out, 5:30. I went and took a 2-hour break, took a shower, fed the dogs, made dinner, ate, back out here. I made some plugs. They're hot. I just cut them, put them in there. We'll get them welded in. Very easy. See how long I can go. I'd like to get this thing built tonight. I said I'd like to have it done last night. Yeah, that was like, yeah, right. And then by noon, it's with the exhaust, took a little while longer, so it is what it is. So I just weld a twisted wire. Take a piece of wire and I stick something in the vise, round rod, pull it tight. I take the 2 ends and put it into a cordless drill and just spin it tight. Just, it's, you know, so it's a stable piece of wire. Let's get her in there flat. She's gonna fit or not. This one's a little, probably okay. Back there. There. Oh, come on. Come on. Break that off if you can. Weld the rest of it. You can grind that nice and flat, and you really won't even know it's there. And then I'll take this off, flip it over, weld the rest of it, and yeah, we'll get in the legs. Yeah. All right. So what I did is I put some metal bars on here, clamped them on. Figured out my height and my width I needed to be on these. Gonna be close around 24 inches for that cart. And figured out my length, how high I want it to be. I decided to go about maybe 2 feet tall. So these are a foot, and this is 5.5. Cart's 6.5. So that should give me 2 feet from there. The one on the stand is 26 inches. So 2 inches shorter, I think would be fine. And I'm putting the seam so I don't see it to the inside. That'd be the outside. It's right there. Sometimes you see that in the paint when you paint. So I got them all marked. Whew. Heck, I almost stayed in the house. I almost didn't come back out, but I'm glad I did now because I don't want to be doing this. Double checking my seam spot. I don't want to be doing this in the morning. Seams on that side. Seams on that side. I actually wanted these in the center, but I gotta come out a little bit. My angle is off just a hair bit, or I would have went a half inch longer. So it's fine. It's fine. Like that, I put a little line here to see. It's like 83 in the shop, it's 100 outside. Might be cooling off a little bit. Might be 98. So I'll go and weld these all the way around. I started to unloosen that bolt. So I'll weld these all the way around, unbolt this thing, take and flip this thing over. I could really get this motor off of here if I have a helper. Yeah, I did it the old school way. Used one of these to figure out my angles. It's just the way I do stuff, and it just works for me. Everybody's got their ways, and I kind of centered, pretty much just centered the weight. I left this off here. There's nothing there for his weight, so that's what I did. All right, going on 12-hour workday, 16 hours up plus, but I got it just about done. I got to weld the bottoms on there, and well, I mean, I wouldn't say done because I still got to mount the tank and all that fun stuff, but for the most part, you know, it's gonna, you could put a motor on there, should be able to, and roll it around and start it up. I'm gonna mount the gas tank somewhere, maybe underneath, I don't know, we'll see. And then, you know, I can do stuff later with it. I gotta do the battery spot, and then maybe a little control panel that can put the pressure gauge and you know, a key start. So I'm gonna do a shut off and stuff instead of pulling a wire off a coil. Anyways, that's where it is right now. All right, so I'm out here in the shop. I cut 2 pieces, drilled them so I can bolt that on. I got the brass fitting for the bottom. That was kind of a funny deal. I went to the auto parts store down the road. I just need for a fuel cell a brass 90 degree for fuel line, and they said, well, what's it off of? And I says, it's going on an engine run stand. She goes, oh, we need to know what make and model so we can look it up on a computer. I had to laugh. So I just ran down to the hardware store and got a 90 set up for that. And over here, I got Blue Boy's battery. I wiped it off and charging it. And I'm gonna make a battery box to put on that engine run stand. Go with a little higher ones on the side around them, and I'm going to put a second little piece across the back. Just give it a little stability in there, and then I can slide it down there. I'm going to make it just a little bit wider, a little bit longer than the battery. So I'm going to weld that together next. Nothing too fancy. So I made it a little bit longer for my welds in there. Yeah, nothing too fancy. I'll probably could cut a little board to put in there, or some rubber. If I have some rubber laying around, but something in there, a little bit. Nothing too fancy, just a little box to hold the battery. That's all we want. So she doesn't fall out, rattle off. So I'm just, my table is not the flattest thing here. I used to wear through this every 2-3 times a year. This was 1/4 inch. I would have this thing worn down a good 1/8 plus. So I used to put a new plate in here probably twice a year. That's how much welding I used to do before. And grinding on this. No mas. Let's see. I'll put that flush if I can get that bent out. We'll see. So I'll finish welding this up, and we'll have ourselves a little box. I'm going to put another little bar up on the back side of it across. All right, so I cleaned it up. I did put a little weld across them and flapper it. So I cleaned it up, got it, all nice. I'm going to put another bar back here, and I'll weld it onto there so we sit the battery in this way, and I'll round these up real nice here. So that's what we're gonna do now. All right, I think it's turning out pretty cool. I'm going to mount the battery box right in the center here, so it's out of the way. And I forgot about the fuel pump. If I would have remembered and figured it out, I would have just did a wider plate to mount the gas tank. So I had cut a little plate. I'm going to screw that to there, and I'll use lock nuts, I think, on it. And this is actually going to go right under there, around there, and then I'm going to run the fuel line up, probably come up, maybe up around here or something with it, with some clamps, and have the extra fuel line wherever. So that's about what I'm going to do with that. And somewhere on it, I want to put like a control panel with an ignition, a switch to turn the fuel pump on, and a key ignition, fuel pump on, and a light, so I know when I have power there or something like that. I have the cables I got some battery cables already. I don't think I'll do the whole ignition thing right now because I won't know exactly where I want it mounted until I get the motor set on here and see how it looks. But this will be enough to get us get the motor on it and running. If I have fuel, battery, fuel pump, I got some wire, and the battery leads. I think that's all we need to actually use this. And then, like I said, I'll get the motor on there and figure out where would be a good area to put like a control panel. Maybe it'd be cool. I don't know. Maybe good on the side instead of like up high. We'll see what looks good. And then maybe I can put a handle on this thing too to push it around. Although this side here doesn't swivel, maybe a little handle on that side or something, you know. But we'll see. I think I'll just get this mounted on there, this made, and shoot this with some paint and call it good, I guess. We should be able to use it, I think, unless I'm forgetting anything. All right, I'll get this all on there. So this is all on my piece. Yeah, it's a little warm. My piece for the electric fuel pump. And I was gonna come up, I don't know where to mount it, but I'm gonna use an old valve cover, I think. And I'm gonna mount a ignition switch, my fuel pump, and a power light. You know, this might be a little low. I'd like to put maybe a pressure, PSI oil pressure sensor, but Gary just screws one into up where your sensor is, and it's just easy to do that for testing, you know. So, but I mean, this would be cool on there, you know, and then I can make a plate cover for the back, something like that. But I'm not going to do that now because I don't know where I'm going to put it until we test this thing out. So I am going to probably just spray this thing down and call it good enough, because we can just run the battery wires, power wires up, and just figure it out from then. So, and so I am basically kind of done with it for right now. So got a lot of time in it, but it's very cool, I think. You know, let me know what you think, what you would have did different. I'll get painting on this thing, because tomorrow I gotta go pick up Gary in the morning and go get him some breakfast, and we'll be over here at I don't know, 7:45, and working on that motor. I'm gonna paint this thing, and I was thinking about putting the motor on there. I want to see. I don't want him to come and go, oh, you know, we should have finished putting this together first, so we can always throw it on here tomorrow. All right, back at it. The engine run stand, it really worked good. This is the modifications we're going to do on it. This here, or I'm gonna do, Gary had a good idea. So what I'm gonna do is, we kind of talked about it. I'm gonna cut this riser pipe off right here, and I'm gonna put a plate of steel in there and a hole on each side. And I will probably actually even weld a nut on the bottom. I don't have to, but I could weld a nut on the bottom. And then weld it to that plate. And then 2 holes, run a bolt through here and here. So this piece will come off with the motor. So I can bolt this onto the motor, and I'm gonna weld a nice ring here, a loop one way or the other. Maybe even bring it up a little higher, probably bring it up higher, so the strap won't interfere with any of this. And it should be out of the way, I was thinking. So I figured it out, the height, not too high, but high enough. And I will make 2 of these. I will make one I'll use this one with the 1 hole, and then I'll make another one for 2 holes for the other mounts. I mean, we could just change this here motor mount bracket, but I'll make a second one. You know, that's not that hard. So hey guys, the run stand worked really well. Very happy with it. Gary was really surprised. You know, it turned out real well. We had no issues. I'm going to change a few things on it. I am going to cut the mount off on the other side and make it so it'll bolt onto the motor mount, and I'll have a plate on the bottom that will bolt onto the stand, so we can just pick a motor, and I'll put a loop on the top of that. We can pick from that side and here real easy, and just sit it on the stand, and just bolt it here and put the 2 bolts on the bottom. It wasn't a bad deal. We just got it on, and basically you gotta get it down and you just slide it sideways through. It's fine, you know. But the cool thing is I can make a second pick point from there than how we had it picked, which I wasn't very happy with, but it worked. And then I can take that plate on that side and on top, and like I have one hole in there for early model motor mounts, and I can make a second one the same way with a double hole for motor mounts. And what else I'm going to do is I'm probably going to attach a bar from here and continue it up, and I'm going to put a valve cover from a Corvair here, and I'm going to mount an ignition key switch to it, and I will put a switch to turn the electric fuel pump on, and I want to put like an indicator light on there that there's power. I might put a shut off right here on the battery just to kill switch power. Maybe just why not? Could always put like so we can plug a heat sensor off the head into it, or a pressure sensor for oil pressure in there too. But I thought I'd use an old Corvair valve cover, and then I can make a cover for the back of it. And I think we're going to mount it up and around right on this side, right about here to the left of the starter here, about in here. Anyways, we thought I didn't want to put that on and and have it in a way or not work, but yeah, it worked really well for just kind of winging it. I got about 18 hours into it, I think, because I started it the night I took Gary and I tore this motor down. I took him home, that night. I took Gary home, I came back, ate, came out here and worked for a couple of hours, and I started thinking about how I was gonna build it and started making all these pieces on it. And then I had, the next day I spent the whole day out here, and then Saturday morning I got up real early and I came out and I mounted the fuel tank, because I had it all painted, mounted the fuel tank, and got the battery on there and the wiring and stuff. So yeah, it turned out really good. Very happy with it. Gary was very happy with it, liked it. I will probably change these exhaust pipes, get new U-pipes. These were some rusty junk I had that came with a Corvair, just parts. The packings were that go on there for the exhaust right here. These pipes are a really weird size. I don't know what they're for. Like Gary says, well, maybe there were something oddball, something that had its own packing, because it's way bigger, well, way bigger than like 110, and they're bigger than 140s. So I took some 140 packings, I took a die grinder and tried to die grind them out, and that was kind of a mess, but I kind of got enough to get something in there so that it would actually work. But other than that, very cool, very happy with it. Yeah, so that's the engine run stand. We'll do a couple modifications and finish building it, but for now, it's working. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Corvair Addiction.